A man approaches Russian mobsters who have procured the chemical weapon Novichok for him and are ready to sell it for an enormous sum. However, just as the seller takes out the car key, he instantly dies. The man eliminates the remaining guards and burns the pavilion. At this moment, Ethan wakes up at home. His girlfriend Nora is overjoyed because they are expecting a baby, but Ethan has other things on his mind. His employer has assigned him another shift. He promises Nora they will celebrate another day. Ethan always wanted to achieve more at his age, but life hasn't always been kind to him. Nora, on the other hand, is content with their life and has another dream, that Ethan returns to the police academy. Ethan promises to think about it. When they arrive at the airport, a man bumps into Ethan. But Ethan notices he's already late and has to rush to his job at airport security. Officer Alani explains that they've received a warning about counterfeit tickets. Their detectors will help identify the fakes. Ethan learns from his colleagues that everyone already knows about Nora's pregnancy and is happy for him. He asks his boss, Phil, for a promotion, but Phil replies that Ethan needs to show more initiative. Good performance alone isn't enough. Jason, Ethan's colleague, suggests Phil transfer Ethan to his position to give him an opportunity to prove himself. They don't yet know that criminals have already arrived at the airport and hacked the surveillance cameras within seconds. Phil gives Ethan a chance to show his potential. Ethan carefully inspects passengers' belongings. The criminals had no idea that Jason had switched places with Ethan, which leads them to break into Jason's apartment and take his family hostage. A hacker monitors the situation through cameras and begins gathering all available information about Ethan, thinking that his lack of promotions makes him an easy target. Among the passengers' belongings, Ethan finds an earbud. He plans to take it to the lost and found department, but receives an SMS asking him to put it on. On the other end, a criminal offers him a deal. Ethan thinks it's a joke from his colleagues, but during their conversation, the criminals already find receipts in Nora's name, allowing them to track her down. The criminal says a man will approach Ethan soon, and he must let him pass, or his beloved will die. The man calls himself Traveler, and, to prove his claims, names the addresses of Ethan's friends. Ethan dials 911, but Traveler orders him to hang up, or Nora will die. Ethan is forced to comply and leaves his phone in the lost and found department. Meanwhile, police, led by Elena, inspect the site of the fire. A federal tracker was found in the watch of one of the mobsters, but it's severely damaged. Elena knows someone who can decrypt it. Ethan tries to remain calm, though he is tense. Traveler demands he relax, as it might jeopardize the operation. Ethan comes up with the idea of recording a voice message through his watch, but the hacker notices. Traveler orders him to place the watch with the phone, warning there will be no further chances. Elena's colleague tries to decrypt the tracker, but the data is illegible. Ethan occasionally hears strange noises in the earbud. He tries to determine Traveler's location and eventually finds him, but a passenger distracts him. Ethan calls Alani to hand him a ticket with a clue. At this moment, Traveler disappears. He collides with Alani, who dies within seconds. The man swiftly takes the ticket, and Ethan catches a glimpse of his face. Ethan blames himself for Alani's death. Meanwhile, Traveler stops hiding. He's curious how Ethan came up with the idea to send a message through the ticket. In a few minutes, a man in a red cap is supposed to go through security, and Ethan must let him pass. While they are talking, Phil suspends Ethan, replacing him with Jason. Ethan gets an idea to steal a few bottles of alcohol, mix them into coffee, and swap the cups. Traveler informs Phil that an employee has alcohol in their mug. Phil checks, discovers the alcohol, and fires Jason. The scanner reveals a bag that frightens Ethan. Meanwhile, Elena deciphers the sounds and learns about Novichok, a poison with no antidote. Ethan wants to stop the man, but his fear for Nora's life keeps him silent. A minute later, he feels unwell and heads to the restroom. To ensure Ethan doesn't contact the police, Traveler follows him in with a gun. He admits his plan to eliminate everyone on the plane, but clarifies that he is not a terrorist or an executor, merely a controller for hire. Ethan tries to find out who hired him, but Traveler tells him it's better not to know. Once the plane takes off, Ethan and Nora will be free. Federal Agent Oakland suggests avoiding a scandal over the damaged tracker, but a 911 call from Ethan's phone is detected. The police order a passenger inspection. Phil disconnects communications and creates a list of 50 people for a random check. Ethan discreetly gains access to a scanning device, enters Phil's system, and adds the necessary person to the list. The camera cannot capture this, as the room is in a blind spot. The police begin their operation, but Traveler detects the deception. He orders Ethan to be stopped. A hacker takes a position with a sniper rifle, and a red dot appears on Nora's head. Ethan is forced to return and continue cooperating. In the restroom, a fight breaks out between Ethan and Traveler. Though Traveler is faster, Ethan manages to grab the gun. Traveler's plans are ruined, and he activates a device. In 10 minutes, everyone in the building will die. The timer can only be stopped by physically disarming the bomb. Ethan must choose between sacrificing 256 passengers on the plane or saving the airport with 10,000 people. Ethan rushes to the observation room where Phil is located. Traveler wants him to kill his boss. Ethan refuses to do it. Traveler takes matters into his own hands, but it turns out Phil is also a hostage. He has an earbud in his ear. Ethan opens the bag. 3 minutes remain. He manages to disarm the device at the last second. Paramedics examine Alani's body and find a cut through which a heart-stopping substance was introduced. Elena confirms that something serious is happening at the airport. Meanwhile, 4 Marines are on the plane, heading to testify about an incident in Aleppo. An employee recalls that the government sent an agent for information. His name is Oakland. He is already on his way to the station, but Elena realizes Oakland is not who he claims to be. She draws her gun, and a fight breaks out. During the chase, an accident occurs. The criminal regains consciousness first and tries to eliminate Elena, but she also recovers and shoots him. After regaining full composure, she reports the attack and commandeers a citizen's car. The criminal contacts Mateo to take the final step. Fortunately for Ethan, there was a mirror nearby, and he saw the gun. A fight ensues, during which both fall onto the conveyor belt leading to the scanner. The device detects a suspicious substance in the bag. Mateo, unaware that prolonged use of a plastic gun would cause it to overheat and explode, inadvertently destroys himself. With the time he has, Ethan sends a message to Teddy, warning him that there's a criminal among them who wants to eliminate Nora. Traveler has already dealt with a police officer and stolen a master key granting access to the entire airport. Sneaking into the storage area, Traveler quickly locates Ethan using a tracker and opens fire, wounding him. Taking cover around a corner, Ethan finds an identical suitcase. He switches the label and leaves it in the hallway. Nora spots the criminal. Teddy advises her to run to the police, promising to hold him off, a grave mistake. Elena finds Ethan and suspects he's working with the criminals. He has to push her aside and explain which flight Traveler is boarding. Moments later, Ethan runs to Nora. At that moment, hackers appear. Their lives could have ended if not for a hostage in a car who managed to free himself and retrieve a sniper rifle. The hostage reveals that Mateo was supposed to fly to Washington, with New York being just a cover. The woman who gave Ethan the earpiece turns out to be an accomplice of the criminals. She had handed Traveler the necessary ticket. The police receive information that they need a suitcase marked with a red ribbon. Traveler boards the flight and realizes the suitcase label has been switched. An employee scans the code, and the suitcase is entered into the database. Now Ethan knows its location. Elena discovers that a congresswoman, traveling under her maiden name to remain unnoticed, is on the same flight as Traveler. Uman is the face of the Democracy Foundation, which involves weapons manufacturers. The criminal's plan is to eliminate her using Novichok and blame the Russians. Elena wants to ground the plane, but Nora pleads against it. If the criminal realizes he's been exposed, he might activate the bomb. Ethan manages to secretly disarm the device, thanks to a slight delay. He descends into the luggage hold, where Traveler finds him. After a brief struggle, Traveler wounds Ethan. Motion sensors detect activity, forcing the pilots to turn the plane around. Ethan manages to distract Traveler and, at an opportune moment, reveals vials of Novichok. He traps him in an airtight container, leaving behind a gift of fate. On the ground, Traveler's fate is sealed. Ethan tells Elena that Novichok and Traveler are now secure in a cold storage unit. The movie ends with a scene of Ethan, Nora, and their child heading off on vacation. Ethan also fulfills his promise and returns to the police academy.